Hi, friends. It's been a while since I've done one of these recorded classes, but I'm very excited to bring you this content to you today to practice together. Um, so, especially in this time of the year, you might encounter that you need a little bit more of stillness, a little bit more of calm, peace, and maybe you've been very busy with family. Maybe you had enough of your uncle singing Christmas carols, and you are seeking for some time for yourself. So this is why we are here. I'm gonna bring to you a full body yin yoga for full body care. We're gonna start from toes to head. It's gonna be quite nice, quite yummy. As you can see, nothing much needed, comfortable clothes. Maybe if you want some props, but we won't be using that many. And once you're ready, go ahead and let's get started. We're gonna start sitting in our heels. As I said, we're gonna do a full yin yoga for full body care class today, and we will start from the feet. So once you're ready, come and sit on your heels. If this is a no-go for you, also I really recommend you to start here. Take a normal seat. And once you're ready, go ahead and bring your hands to rest on your thighs, bringing the shoulders over the hips. And go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't yet. And just start by allowing yourself to arrive to your body, to your mat, to your breath, to your practice. And this is the time for yourself. There's nowhere else you need to be caring for apart from yourself. Bring your awareness now to your breath. And start noticing your inhale, noticing your exhale, noticing the pattern of the breath, the motion, noticing the movement. And on your next inhale, breathe in from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. A deep inhale. Exhale, let it go. A deep inhale. And exhale. One more, a deep inhale all the way up. And exhale. Now from here, I want you to start bringing your awareness to your toes, the top of your feet, your ankles, shins, calves, knees, thighs. And just observing that sensation. Notice how your lower body feels slightly different from your upper body. The lower body feels slightly active, like something is happening. Meanwhile, the upper body is soft, is light, is resting. We're gonna take just one more breath here. And on your next exhale, slowly, slowly, blinking your eyes open. Beautiful, everyone. And very gently, you're gonna come to sitting on your sit bones. And then we're gonna move into a dragonfly, or in our practice, in more young practices, are called a straddle pose. So from here, what I would like you to do is just to go ahead and straighten the legs in any capacity. It doesn't have to be anything too big, anything intense. What we're aiming to find here in yin is that healthy stress in the deep tissues. So we are trying to remove any active work from muscles specifically. So we're going to focus on tendons, ligaments, fascia, and all those tissues that are slightly deeper. So having said that, no effort required here on the legs. However, if you notice yourself like your legs are kind of like tilting inwards and it becomes a little bit uncomfortable, especially in your inner thighs, something that works quite well, and this is not to intensify the pose, but just to support a little bit here, you're going to bring your blocks to your inner ankles. I kind of like to do this. But having said that, no effort in the toes, so no flex in the feet, nothing is going on in the lower body. And then once you have this lower body set up, we're gonna think about the upper body. So options. I do want to give you an opportunity to explore gravity. So what I would like to do here normally in this poses is just like to flip my hands so they face towards the ceiling. And again, I'm just actually started to bend my elbows. So the weight of my shoulders, spine, is going to kind of create that natural fold. And again, no effort required. And the last thing of here, the last piece of the puzzle is your neck. If you notice that your neck is very heavy and you start to drop in the head a lot, think about you want to keep your neck aligned with your shoulders as much as possible. And then once you feel ready, go ahead and close your eyes. We stay in these poses somewhere in between 2 to 5 minutes, depending on what we're aiming here for. So just allowing yourself to find the stillness. Maybe if you notice yourself with some more space, you can bend the elbows a little bit more, and then you can start dropping the forearms as well. One last minute here. We're gonna move now into a rebound. So all I want you to do is to go ahead and take any seat for a second. And just taking a few breaths here to observe, observing the effects of this first pose. And then slowly, slowly, you're going to start blinking your eyes open. Beautiful work, everyone. We're going to move into our second pose. And we are going to take a half dragonfly. So now from here, you're going to go ahead and straighten your left leg. You're going to bring your right foot to meet your left inner thigh. And then what I want you to think about here is that you might notice that from that straddle, your hips are facing forwards. We're going to keep the hips as they are as much as possible. Obviously, depending on the way that we are built, we might start to kind of, also like depending on how tight we feel today, we might start to kind of rotate the hips slightly. But see if you can keep the hips as and where they are. But then we're going to start creating a rotation, a twist from the shoulders. So from here, not from the hips, we're going to start looking towards your left big toe. Nice. And again, it doesn't have to be too big, just a gentle twist. And then from here, we're going to do exactly the same. Palms facing upwards. And then just allowing gravity to help us find this fold. We will stay here for a few minutes. Enjoy. Maybe just noticing that sensation in the lower back, maybe your right hip. And this is kind of what we are aiming for here. Last breaths here. Beautiful work. Slowly, slowly, you're gonna walk your hands back. And let's take the rebound again. You can let the legs be as they are. You can come very gently to a cross-legged sit for a second. I do like to cross my legs, but you can stay where you are. Just observing. Slowly, slowly release. We're going to go into the other side. So this time it's going to be your right leg is straight. And then bringing your left sole of the feet to meet the right inner thigh. And again, hips might be forward. We're trying to create that rotation from the torso, shoulders, spine. Make your way there. Maybe just starting to also check in and see how things feel in one side and the other. Maybe it's the lower back. My back is a bit tight today, so I'm just going to release a little bit the fold. Always looks like both sides. They're very independent, very different in a way. One last minute. And slowly, slowly release. Very gently rebound. And the rebounds are just an opportunity to observe. That is it. We don't want to come from a place of stillness or softness and kind of rush into something else. Beautiful work, everyone. Nice. So we're gonna move on to the next pose. And before we go to the next section of the practice, we're gonna come to a tabletop for a second. Just very gently, there's no rush. Just bring in the hands and knees on the mat. And then just bring in the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And all I want you to do here is just to stay in tabletop. We're just gonna take 1 minute here. This is going to be a space for us to kind of neutralize the spine for a second. Soften the hips, lower back. Beautiful work. And slowly, slowly release. Walk your hands back. Come and sit on your heels. then from here, we're gonna start the next section of this practice. So we're gonna go into a embryo pose. So embryo pose is very similar to your standard child's pose, but this time we're gonna bring the big toes to touch. We're gonna bring the legs together so the inner thighs are together. And then the purpose of this pose is going to be creating a rounding in the back with some support underneath. So from here, we're just gonna lean forward so we rest our belly and our thighs. We're gonna send the arms overhead. Sorry, sending the arms behind you, not overhead. So you're gonna flip the hands so the palms look towards the ceiling. And then you notice here like a very different sensation for the shoulders. Then noticing the rounding from the lower back, middle back. Just start softening the shoulders, softening the space in between your eyebrows. And we will stay here for a few minutes. We need to also soften the belly if you can. Softening the tips of the toes, softening the fingertips. And if you're in this space, if you're like, I think I need a bit more space for myself, just going to bring the knees a little bit wider, but still trying to rest your belly on your thighs in any capacity. Last breath. Slowly, slowly, bring the hands on the mat. And slowly, slowly release. Last thing is your head. We're gonna take an hour rebound here. Just 2 or 3 breaths. Beautiful. Keep your eyes open once you're ready. And then we're gonna move into the next pose, but before we get there, just one last thing for your feet. And that is you're gonna bring the fingertips behind you, like a soft camel pose we do in class sometimes. And then from here, maybe this is already a lot, but maybe you want to lift the knees a little bit off the mat so you notice the stretch in the top of the feet. This should feel quite nice. We're just gonna stay here 2 more breaths, nothing else. And gently release. Beautiful. We're gonna go into a twisted child's pose. So now, bringing the knees as wide as the mat, big toes to touch. You're gonna walk your hands forward, especially the right. So walk your right hand forward, forward, forward. So you reach and lengthening, and then you're gonna thread the left hand underneath your right armpit. And you're gonna let for the left shoulder, left side of the head rest on the ground. And then I want you to try to bring some weight to the left shoulder. So maybe you lean slightly forwards to bring more weight there. Just to encourage that stretch in the shoulder. But then the rest is soft. Maybe if you notice that your right arm gets a little bit tired, you can bend your right elbow and rest the right forearm onto the ground as well. And then here we also are bringing some TLC to the hips, the muscles, tissues around the muscles relax. Something that happens to me in this pose, especially in this twisted version of child's pose, is that I start noticing my heartbeat deep. And notice even the blood pumping. Maybe some of you are experiencing the same. We've got 1 more minute. Slowly, slowly release. And then come back to center. Straighten both the arms forwards like your standard child's pose. This is going to be our rebound. Just 2 or 3 breaths. And gently release. Let's go into the other side, walking your left hand slightly forward. And then you're going to thread the right hand underneath your left armpit. Bringing some of the weight to right shoulder, right side of the hip. Maybe left forearm drops on the mat. And slowly release. Come back to center for another rebound in your child's pose. And exhale, release. Beautiful, everyone. We're going to start making our ways now to our backs. This is going to be the last section of this practice. So we've done a little bit of sitting, folding. We're going to go into our backs now to kind of work in the last pieces of the puzzle here. So very gently, you're gonna make your way to your back. So I'm just gonna move my bike. There we go. And then from here, we're gonna go into a reclined pigeon pose. So you're gonna bring the right ankle on top of your left thigh. And just letting the right knee open a little bit here. Now, I do want to offer you an option in case you want to take it. So perhaps you want to bring your left knee, left thigh towards the chest and catch the back of your left leg. This is just an entry pause for where we're going to go. We need to soften the shoulders, soften the breath. Nice. And we're gonna go into a reclined shoelace. So letting the legs be as they are. You're gonna just cross the legs. So the right knee is gonna come on top of your left. So really squeezing the inner thighs together. And now from here, I want to invite you to catch hold either of ankles or feet, toes. I actually prefer catching my ankles here. It gives me a little bit more of depth, but also my right knee feels slightly um, overly externally rotated, so I kind of like to catch my ankles. But I want you to notice that sensation in near somewhere the right glute. So that's your gluteus medius. That's something that we normally don't stretch that much, but we're gonna go a little bit deeper than that with this reclined version of shoelace. 2 minutes here. If at any point you notice that right knee gets a little bit too much or everything gets a little bit too much, you're welcome to release the left foot back on the mat and just keeping the inner thighs together. And on your next exhale, very gently, gonna release the feet, but keep the legs as they are. And now from here, you're gonna let both of the knees drop to the left side for a supine twist. Again, if this feels a little bit too much, too intense, perhaps in the lower back, you can just stack one knee on top of the other. We're gonna stay here for a few minutes. Maybe you cactus the arms, letting the back of the hands rest on the ground. Last breaths here. Beautiful. Welcome back to center. Undo the legs and cross the legs and just let the sole of the feet rest on the ground. This is going to be our rebound, letting the hands rest on your belly. Maybe if it feels nice, you can just very gently lift the hips a little bit, not too much, just so you lift the tailbone from the mat. You kind of reset the spine again. Okay. We're going to move into the other side. We're going to start in our reclined pigeon pose, left ankle, right thigh. And then maybe if you want a little bit more, you can catch and grab the back of your right leg. But no effort required on the right foot, right ankle. Nothing. Let everything be soft. Noticing now the sensation in the left side. Let's move to shoelace. Squeezing the inner thighs together. Left knee on top of the right. Maybe you catch hold of the ankles. Maybe the toes, feet. Again, that sensation. I think this is one of the poses where you can really notice the depth of the practice. When it looks like we are not actually doing much, but we are. It's very easy to notice. Just very gently keeping the legs as they are. Let's move into our twist. Dropping the legs to the right side, maybe keeping the legs cross-legged. Maybe you undo the cross and you bring the right leg on top of the left, stacking knees. Maybe cactus the arms, letting the shoulders rest. And then we just have one more pose before Shavasana. On your next exhale, release. Slowly, slowly bring the sole of the feet back on the mat. Neutralizing the spine. And then from here, we're going to move into a supported back bend. I am going to very gently drop the knees to the right side, and you're going to support yourself for a second, just so you can see where are we going. And then we're going to move into our Sutta Baddha Konasana, our supported bound angle pose. And for this option, I would recommend, for once, to support yourself with a bolster. You can also lay flat if you prefer. And then from here, we're gonna bring the sole of the feet together to touch. I'm looking at the timer, that's why I've got my phone here. And then you're going to bring the bolster close to the tailbone. Some of you might appreciate, perhaps, also yin, you need to use gravity in your favor. So I normally like to practice like so, unless it's restorative. I bring blocks underneath. However, if you really find this pose difficult, support yourself. And then from here, all that we have to do is to come and lay back on the bolster. And then we are now moving into this supported back bend to open the front body, ribs, chest, sternums, shoulders, pecs, all the tissues around those muscles in those areas. We're gonna stay here for a bit. You're welcome to stay here if you like to close your practice. Feel free to stay here as much as you want, as much as you need to find that stillness. If you like to move into your final resting pose, your Shavasana, start making your way there. Maybe you remove the bolster from underneath. And you come to laying flat in our backs. Straighten the legs, straighten the arms, your palms face upwards. And this possibly is going to be the most important pose of today's practice. This is the pose where everything comes together. I'm just gonna leave you here, but again, feel free to enjoy this pose for as long as you want, for as long as you need. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I'll see you all soon.